The message arrived on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Earth's deep space monitoring station picked up unusual signals coming from beyond the solar system. Admiral June Park, commander of Earth's United Defense Forces, was called to headquarters immediately. "We've received a transmission from something calling itself the Galactic Imperial Council," said Communications Officer Han as he played the recording. A tall, blue-skinned being appeared on screen. It had 4 eyes and spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am High Commander Rock of the Imperial Galactic Council. Your planet has been scheduled for integration into our empire. Prepare for our arrival and peaceful surrender." "Admiral." Park called an emergency meeting with world leaders. The room buzzed with fear and confusion. "They'll be here in 3 days according to their transmission," she explained. "We need to prepare a response." President Kim of the Global Union stood up. "What options do we have? Our military technology is no match for a spacefaring civilization." Admiral Park's face remained calm. "That's what they believe, and that's our advantage." She revealed classified information that shocked everyone in the room. 40 years ago, an alien scout ship had crashed in the remote mountains. Earth governments had worked together in secret to study and reverse engineer its technology. "We've been preparing for this possibility for decades," Admiral Park explained. "Operation Artemis is ready." 3 days later, a massive Imperial ship entered Earth orbit. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built, stretching nearly 2 kilometers. From end to end, smaller ships deployed from its hangars, heading toward the United Nations headquarters in New York. Ambassador Maul and his entourage arrived in a beam of blue light. Tall and imposing, he looked down at the human delegation with 6 blinking eyes. "I've come to accept your surrender," he announced. "The Emperor is generous. Your culture will be preserved in our archives, and your people will serve as productive members of the Empire." Admiral Park stepped forward. "Earth will not surrender." Ambassador Maul laughed, a strange bubbling sound. "You have no choice. Our scans show your primitive technology. Your most advanced weapons cannot even damage our smallest ships." "Perhaps," Admiral Park said calmly. "But you should know, our fleet is already on its way." This caught the ambassador by surprise. "Fleet? What fleet? Our scans show you barely have spacecraft capable of reaching your own moon." Admiral Park smiled. "There's much your scans didn't detect." As the ambassador returned to his ship, clearly disturbed by this unexpected response, Admiral Park activated her secure communicator. "This is Admiral Park. Initiate Protocol Artemis." Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in massive underground hangars, lights began turning on. Engineers and pilots rushed to their stations. Captain Sun Lee stood on the bridge of Earth's first true battleship, the Defender. "All systems online," reported his executive officer. "Fold space drive charging." Humanity had spent decades preparing in secret. The Empire thought they were facing a primitive civilization with simple rockets and satellites. They had no idea what was coming. On the Imperial command ship, Ambassador Maul reported his conversation to Commander Rock. "They claim to have a fleet," he said, "but it must be a bluff." Commander Rock studied the sensor data. "They have nothing that could threaten us. Begin the standard conquest protocol. Deploy ground forces at their major cities." As Imperial ships began to descend toward Earth, alarm bells suddenly rang throughout the command vessel. "Sir, multiple unknown objects appearing from Mars," shouted the sensor operator. They're ships, moving at impossible speeds." For the first time in his long career, Commander Rock felt fear. On his view screen, he watched as dozens of advanced human warships emerged from hiding places in the Martian moons. The Empire had made a fatal mistake. They had judged Earth by what they could see, never suspecting what humans had hidden away, waiting for this day. The battle for Earth was about to begin. Captain Sun Lee stood on the bridge of the Defender, humanity's first true battleship. Around him, the crew worked quickly, preparing the ship for its first real battle. The massive vessel had been hidden for years inside a hollowed-out section of Phobos, one of Mars's moons. "Engine room reports ready, Captain," said Lieutenant Min Kang from her tactical station. "Very good," Lee replied. "Prepare to break concealment." For 20 years, humanity had been building this fleet in secret. After discovering the crashed alien scout ship, Earth's nations had put aside their differences to work together. The reverse-engineered technology had given them fold space drives and powerful weapons. "The Empire has begun attacking our satellites," reported Commander Hunnam, the ship's second-in-command. "Earth's surface defenses are holding for now, but they won't last long." Captain Lee nodded. "They think they're facing a primitive civilization with no real space capability. Time to show them how wrong they are." Throughout the hidden base, 37 warships powered up their systems. Each represented the best of human engineering combined with alien technology. Some were built for speed, others for power. Together, they formed Earth's first real space fleet. "All ships report ready, sir," said Lieutenant Kang. Captain Lee took a deep breath. "Send the code to Admiral Park. Artemis is launched. All ships, deploy." The surface of Phobos cracked open like an egg, revealing the gleaming fleet within. The ships rose from their hiding place, their engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. On the Imperial command ship, alarms blared. Commander Rock rushed to the bridge, his 4 eyes widening at the sight on the main screen. "Impossible," he shouted. "Where did they get such ships?" His science officer looked confused. "Our scans showed no advanced technology on this planet. They shouldn't have fold space capability for another century at least." On Earth, Admiral Park watched the space battle unfold on her command screens. The human fleet was outnumbered 3-1, but they had the element of surprise. "Target their communication ships first," ordered Captain Lee. "Cut them off from calling reinforcements." The Defender moved with surprising speed for such a large vessel. It appeared behind an Imperial communication ship, fired its main weapons, then instantly jumped to a new position using its fold space drive. The Imperial ships tried to respond, but their tactics were based on fighting enemies who used predictable movement patterns. The human ships kept changing position, appearing and disappearing too quickly to track. "They're using fold space for tactical jumps," said Commander Rock in disbelief. "That's not possible without causing massive crew injuries." What the Empire didn't know was that human engineers had solved that problem years ago. The crashed ship had provided the basic technology, but human innovation had improved it beyond what the Empire thought possible. "Sir, we've lost 5 ships already," reported Rock's tactical officer. "Their weapons are bypassing our shield somehow." Captain Lee directed the battle from the Defender's bridge, constantly moving his ships to avoid Imperial counterattacks. "Launch the kinetic penetrators," he ordered. Simple metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds, punched through Imperial shields designed to stop energy weapons. The Empire had long ago abandoned physical projectiles, considering them primitive. Now that oversight was costing them dearly. On Earth, civilians watched the battle through telescopes and on news broadcasts. Bright flashes lit up the night sky as Imperial ships exploded. People cheered from rooftops and in town squares. "Send a message to all Earth forces," Admiral Park commanded. "The hidden fleet has engaged the enemy. Hold your positions and prepare for Phase 2. In orbit, Captain Lee received new orders. "All ships, form up. We're going to push them back." From Earth orbit, the human fleet moved as one, driving a wedge between Earth and the Imperial Armada. More Imperial ships exploded as they failed to adapt to human tactics. For the first time in centuries, the Empire was losing a battle, and the war for Earth's freedom had only just begun. Imperial Commander Nak reclined in his command chair, watching Earth's defensive satellites being destroyed one by one. This was his 15th planetary conquest, and they all seemed the same to him now. "Another primitive world," he said to his second-in-command, Officer Tal. "They never learn until it's too late." The Empire had conquered thousands of worlds across 3 galaxies. None had ever truly surprised them. Their technology was superior, their military tactics perfected over thousands of years. "Sir," his science officer Jev approached carefully, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings from the 4th planet." "Probably just natural phenomena," Commander Nak dismissed with a wave of his hand. "These primitive worlds often have strange magnetic fields or radiation bursts." The Empire's confidence came from a long history of easy victories. Their database showed that Earth had only launched simple rockets and satellites. They had no fold space technology, No advanced weapons. The conquest should be simple and quick. Commander, the tactical officer called out suddenly. We're detecting multiple objects approaching from Mars. They appear to be ships. Impossible, Knox scoffed. Our intelligence indicates these humans have no real space fleet. He stood and walked to the main view screen. The sensor data showed dozens of vessels emerging from Mars and its moons. The readings made no sense. Sir, they're moving at incredible speeds. Their drive signatures don't match anything in our database. For the first time in his long career, Commander Knock felt uneasy. Raise shields and prepare defensive formations. Alert the fleet. The Imperial ships began to move into their standard battle formation. It was a pattern they had used successfully for centuries, a tight defensive grid that could concentrate firepower on any approaching enemy. Sir, his communications officer shouted. We're receiving a transmission from the lead human vessel, Captain. Lee's face appeared on screen. This is Captain Sun Lee of Earth's Defense Fleet. We suggested you reconsider your invasion. Commander Knock laughed. You have surprised us with your hidden ships, human, but you are still outnumbered and outgunned. Your defeat is inevitable. We'll see about that, Captain Lee replied before cutting the transmission. What happened next shocked the Imperial fleet. The human ships didn't behave like any enemy they had faced before. Instead of forming their own battle line, the Earth vessels scattered in all directions, using their fold space drives to jump in and out of range. Sir, we can't target them, shouted the weapons officer. They keep changing position. Knock watched, in growing horror as one of his destroyers exploded. Then another. The human ships were using tactics the Empire had never encountered. How are they bypassing our shields, he demanded. His science officer looked confused. They're using some kind of physical projectiles accelerated to near light speed. Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not solid objects. The arrogance of the Empire had become its greatest weakness. They had stopped innovating centuries ago, believing they had reached the peak of military technology. Now they faced an enemy who thought differently. Sir, the human ships are targeting our command systems, reported Officer Tal. 3 more. Cruisers have lost power. Commander Knox slammed his fist on the armrest of his chair. This is impossible, they're primitives. On his command screen, he watched as another group of human ships emerged from hiding. They had been concealed behind Earth's moon, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. All ships, concentrate fire on their largest vessel. He ordered desperately, but the order came too late. The human fleet had already surrounded his command ship, cutting it off from the rest of the Imperial forces. The Empire's arrogance was about to cost them their first major defeat in centuries. The space battle raged across Earth's orbit. Captain Sun Lee directed his fleet with quick, precise orders. Unlike the Empire's rigid formations, the human ships moved unpredictably, appearing and disappearing using their fold space drives. Target their supply ships first, ordered Captain Lee. Use jump pattern Omega. The human fleet executed maneuvers the Empire had never seen before. The defender would appear behind an Imperial cruiser, fire its main weapons, then instantly fold space to a new position before the Empire could return fire. On Earth, Admiral June Park coordinated the ground defense from her underground command center. Launch the EMP satellites, she commanded. Target their landing craft. The Empire's tactics were based on overwhelming force and superior technology. They had never needed to adapt or innovate. For thousands of years, they had conquered the same way: surround, bombard, and invade. Humanity, however, had spent decades preparing for this moment. Their shields are calibrated against energy weapons, said Lieutenant Min Kang on the Defender's bridge. Deploy the kinetic penetrators. Simple metal rods, accelerated to near light speed, bypassed the Imperial shields completely. The Empire had long ago dismissed physical projectiles as primitive and ineffective against their advanced technology. Sir, we've lost 15 ships already, reported Officer Tal to Commander Knock. The humans are using technology and tactics we've never encountered. For the first time in centuries, the Imperial fleet was taking significant losses. The Galactic Council was demanding explanations. How is this possible? Demanded Grand Counselor Vex through the quantum communicator. They were supposed to be primitives. Commander Nak had no answer. The humans seemed to know exactly how to counter each Imperial tactic. It was as if they had been studying the Empire for years. And they had been. The crashed scout ship had contained detailed information about Imperial battle strategies and weapon systems. Humanity had spent decades preparing specifically to fight this enemy. "Sir, they're targeting our communication relays," shouted an Imperial officer. "We're losing contact with our ground forces." On the surface of Earth, Imperial landing parties found themselves facing unexpected resistance. Their energy weapons worked, but the humans wore special armor that limited the damage. And Earth soldiers used simple projectile weapons that the Imperial troops had no defense against. "Fall back to position Delta," Admiral Park ordered Earth's ground forces. "Let them advance into the prepared zones." The Empire's troops marched forward, believing they were pushing back the human defenders. They didn't realize they were being led into carefully prepared traps. "Now," ordered General Kai of Earth's United Army. Hidden EMP devices activated, shutting down the Imperial troops' weapons and communication systems. Without their technology, the alien soldiers were vulnerable. In space, Captain Lee's fleet continued to strike and disappear before the Empire could respond effectively. They targeted command ships and supply vessels, avoiding direct confrontation with the Empire's main battleships. "Sir, half the fleet is either damaged or destroyed," Officer Tal reported to Commander Nak. "We can't maintain our position." Commander Nak stared at the tactical display in disbelief. No one had ever defeated an Imperial invasion force before. His career was over. His life might be too if the Council decided to punish him for this failure. "Order all ships to regroup," he said finally. "We need to consolidate our forces." But it was too late. The human fleet had already surrounded his command ship, cutting it off from retreat. Captain Lee opened a communication channel. "Your fleet is defeated, Commander. It's time to discuss terms." The final battle between humanity and the Imperial fleet reached its climax in Earth's orbit. Commander Nak's flagship was surrounded, cut off from the rest of his scattered forces. His once mighty armada lay in ruins, defeated by a supposedly primitive species. "All ships execute final maneuver," ordered Captain Sun Lee. The human fleet simultaneously used their fold space drives, creating a perfect ring around the Imperial command vessel. "Open a channel," Lee said calmly. Commander Nak's face appeared on screen. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by shock and fear. "What do you want, human?" "The unconditional withdrawal of all Imperial forces from our solar system, recognition of Earth's independence, and a seat on your Galactic Council." "Impossible," Nak sputtered. "The Council would never accept a new species, especially not one that has defeated an Imperial fleet." "They will," interrupted Admiral Park, joining the transmission from Earth. "Because if they don't, we'll share our fold space technology with every world the Empire has conquered." The threat was clear. If other subjugated worlds gained this technology, the Empire's military advantage would vanish forever. "You wouldn't dare," Nak whispered. "We would," Captain Lee replied. "Humanity values freedom, not just our own, but for all beings. Your Empire's days of easy conquest are over." 3 weeks later, Earth's representatives arrived at the Galactic Council chamber. The massive space station housed delegates from the 100 most powerful worlds in the galaxy. Most were puppet governments controlled by the Empire. The Council members watched with a mixture of fear and curiosity as Admiral Park and Captain Lee took their seats. It was the first time in 500 years that a new species had been granted representation. "How did you defeat our fleet?" asked Counselor Vex finally. "Your world was classified as pre-spaceflight." Admiral Park smiled. "Your Empire has grown lazy and complacent. You rely on technological superiority without innovation. Humans are different. We adapt. We overcome." "You had help," accused another council member. "Someone gave you advanced technology." "We had a little help," Captain Lee admitted. "One of your scout ships crashed on our world decades ago, but the technology was damaged. We had to rebuild it ourselves, improve it, make it Our own. The council chamber erupted in angry shouts. Some called for Earth to be destroyed immediately. Others demanded to know how humans had improved upon imperial technology. The Grand Emperor himself raised a hand for silence. Enough. The humans have earned their place here. They defeated our forces fairly. He turned to the human delegation. But know this. If you share your technology with our subject worlds, we will have no choice but to declare total war. Admiral Park stood tall. And if you attack any more peaceful worlds, we will have no choice but to defend them. As they left the chamber, Captain Lee turned to Admiral Park. What happens now? She looked out at the stars visible through the station's viewport. Now we build alliances, find friends among the other species who want freedom. The Empire won't give up easily. In the following months, delegations from dozens of worlds secretly contacted Earth. Some offered trade, others technology, all seeking the same thing: protection from the Empire. Humanity's fleet grew. Their technology improved. Former enemies became allies. A new power was rising in the galaxy. Not an empire built on conquest, but an alliance founded on mutual respect and freedom. And it had all started with a simple warning: our fleet is on its way.